G'day cocktail lovers. This is another in my series that I like to call, at least in my head, and now out my mouth and into the internet, I'll call it the if you see an interesting looking recipe but don't have the exact ingredients, don't be scared to improvise. I was pretty much encouraged to improvise by the Difford's Guide website, which improvised their own riff on a cocktail called the Beauchamp. They called it the Beauchamp number 2. So this is my take. It's going to be Beauchamp number 3. It was based on what I have on hand and also things I like that were different to what was in the online recipe. This is essentially, it's like a wet martini, 2-to-1 ratio. It's livened up by a couple of liqueurs. And I'm going to give it a try, first time. Flavors are working really great, and I think I'm always looking for things that could be a gateway for someone to get into gin martinis, because that can be a bit confronting for some people, and I really like to encourage people to get into it. I think the martini is a great drink. I'm a super snob. It's only a martini if it's a gin martini, and this one considerably more complex than your average gin martini, but that can be fun to do as well. Now, one of the big variations the Difford site did on the original Beauchamp was to split the gin between a dry and an Old Tom, which is a sweeter style of gin. And I decided to go with that as well. The dry component is Archie Rose's Bone Dry Gin, Sydney-based distillery. I have quite a few sweeter gins, none actually called Old Tom, but they're all sweeter style. I decided to go with this one for fun. This is from the Threefold Distillery. That's Steve the bartender and pals run that distillery in South Australia. This is an experimental gin they did. It's a coconut gin. It's actually quite fun to use that in cocktails that call for white rum and substitute that in. Now it's going to be the sweet gin component on this, and there is dry vermouth in there as well. This is another Australian product, Regal Rogue. The one non-Australian product is an Amaro liqueur, fernet, branca. Very definite thing. If you don't have this, a herbal liqueur would be the go. And there's also a fruit liqueur. I think they were calling for triple sec. I'm using my homemade blood orange liqueur, which I really like. And that's essentially the lineup, with a dash of aromatic bitters in there as well, a light dash. And you know, I'm just tasting it again. It's got that definite martini characteristic, but the liqueurs really are adding to it. Here's how we make it. In a mixing glass, we're putting in just under an ounce, about 25 mils of dry gin, then the same amount, 25 mils of a sweeter gin, and also an equal amount of the dry vermouth, just under an ounce, 25 mils going in. Then we're adding about 1/3 of an ounce or 10 mils of fernet branca, and 1/3 of an ounce or 10 mils of the orange liqueur, and round things out with a light dash of aromatic bitters. Add ice to the glass, stir that for 20 to 25 seconds to chill and dilute the drink, and then strain that into a coupe or a martini glass. You could garnish this maybe with a citrus twist, an orange peel maybe, because we've got an orange liqueur in there. I don't think it needs it. It's really quite elegant. It's a lovely twist on a martini. If you like martinis, experiment, give it a go. If you haven't been able to get to martinis, this may ease you into it. And again, feel free to improvise the other liqueurs. Fernet Branca is pretty full on. You might like a lighter Amaro to go in there just to do a twist or something herbal. Go with what you have, what you like, because never be afraid to improvise. Even if it doesn't work, even if you end up not loving what comes out, hopefully you at least learn something. So it's always worthwhile. Never stop learning, and I was going to say, never stop drinking cocktails. You know, you should stop occasionally. Take breaks. I take breaks every week, but you know, it may not seem that way, but I do some sort of temperance. I'm off on a ramble now. I need to just sit down and drink this. So I hope you're taking care of yourself wherever you are. Hope to see you again soon. Until I do, cheers.